Welcome to the Magnetic Creator Podcast. I'm your host, Melanie Mishler, and each week we have intimate conversations about the things that matter most in life. My superpower is helping you remember who you truly are, a powerful, magical creator. I give you proven tools to help you get unstuck and manifest a life that sets your heart on fucking fire. Are you ready? Let's go. Hello, my beautiful friend, and welcome back. Today, I want to talk about a concept that I've been teaching in my manifestation course, and it's a really fun and powerful concept that can help you reach big goals in a way that feels doable and aligned. And honestly, I think this is a perfect time of year to talk about this because we're still fresh into the new year. Chances are you're either still crafting your goals for 2025 or maybe still riding that New Year's momentum and everything's going smooth. But here's the thing. Quitter's Day is coming up soon. And if you haven't heard what Quitter's Day is, it's a funny but not so funny day mid-January, actually this Friday, when most people give up their New Year's resolutions and they revert back to their old habits. And there's actually a scientific reason why this happens. You see, when we set big goals for ourselves, we often don't take the time to visualize stepping into that version of ourselves or work through the limiting beliefs that we hold about those goals. And then what happens is our brilliant brain, our brilliant nervous systems will take over and try and keep us safe once we start getting out of that comfort zone. Because you see, all growth happens outside of our comfort zone, which means that when we go after big dreams or big goals, it will often trigger our nervous system into high alert. And I know this sounds ridiculous, but here's the thing. Success can actually feel unsafe in your body if it pushes the boundaries of what you believe is possible for yourself. And this is why self-sabotage happens. It's your nervous system saying, whoa, I'm going to keep you alive and safe, and we're just going to stick to what we know. I want you to remember, I've talked about this in past episodes, but our brains don't know the difference between going after a big goal and being chased by tigers. They both feel unsafe in our nervous system. So our brains haven't evolved that much over the millions of years that humans have been here, and it triggers the same exact response. So what happens is we'll start to go after our goals, we'll get a little bit out of our comfort zone, and then before you know it, we're back to the old habits, and your dreams are just collecting dust until next year, right? Until we do the same dance at the end of the year, set new big visions for ourselves, and the cycle just continues. But here's the secret. We can predict this discomfort. We know there will always be resistance when we set big goals. Why? Because again, all growth is happening outside of our comfort zone. And so what happens is when we know this is coming, we can prepare for it. We can create a bridge between the version of us now and the future version of ourselves who already has achieved the goals that we want to achieve. And this is where today's tool comes in. I call it the Trailblazer Bridge Method. I know it's a mouthful, but stick with me. It's a tool that I teach to help you navigate that gap between your comfort zone and your big vision. Let me explain how this works by sharing a story that inspired this concept. A few years ago, Andy and I watched a documentary called Valley Uprising, and it was about the rock climbers in Yosemite back in the 1970s. Might have even been the 60s. And what happened is these rock climbers came to Yosemite and they were blown away by the massive rock faces like El Capitan and Half Dome, these enormous cliffs. And they were determined to climb these mountains. But here's the thing. At the time, everyone told them it couldn't be done. People said, those mountains are unclimbable. No one's ever done it. No one ever will do it. It's impossible. But the climbers were obsessed and they would not listen. They were completely obsessed with figuring out a way to climb them. So they camped out in Yosemite for months and months. They evaded the park rangers. They would sit and they would map out routes. They would experiment with techniques. They would make little bits of progress and then fall back. And eventually, I think it was after about a year, one group became the first to summit Half Dome. And here's the amazing part though. Once they proved it could be done, they broke what I call the collective threshold of impossibility. And everything changed. Everything. Because what happened next was really incredible. The next group climbed it in about a month. And then others came along and they did it in a week. And now, today, there are these crazy free climbers. They're like mountain goats, and they just scale up the cliffs without ropes, without safety anchors, and they do it in just hours. Here's the thing. The mountains have not changed, but the beliefs about what's possible have changed. And so what was once considered impossible becomes now not just possible, but achievable. And even for people who aren't professional climbers, right? I mean, shit, my husband Andy's climbed Half Dome. You might have climbed Half Dome, but the only reason he was able to climb it is because someone had already broken through. They shattered that threshold of impossibility. They showed the world that it could be done, that it was possible. And this isn't just about climbing mountains. This is a pattern that we see over and over again throughout history. Another great example is Roger Bannister. He was the first man to break the 4-minute mile. And people believed before this that it was physically impossible, that the human body couldn't do that. But as soon as he broke that threshold, suddenly other runners started breaking it too, because the belief had shifted. The impossible became not just possible, but repeatable. So why am I even talking about this? And how does this apply to your goals? Here's the thing. It means that when you're trying to manifest something that feels impossible, and you know what? It doesn't even have to feel impossible. It can just feel challenging or unrealistic, or even just like a big stretch, whether it's starting a business, achieving financial freedom, or creating the life of your dreams. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. You can look outside of yourself for trailblazers, for people who have already done what you want to do. And you can use their success as kind of like what I call proof of concept, right? That it's possible. And if it's possible for them, it's possible for you too. But here's what we normally do instead. We look out into the world and we find others who have broken that threshold of impossibility for whatever we want to create. And instead of using them as inspiration, we tend to weaponize their success against ourselves. We say shit like, well, they had more education or more money, or they didn't have young kids at home, or things like that, right? And friend, I just have to say this, because no matter what you want to achieve in your life, I guarantee you, there is a woman out there who has done it with less time, fewer resources, more challenges, and maybe even 20 pounds heavier, right? So instead of comparing ourselves to others, let's use them as momentum, as fuel, as confirmation that what we want is in fact possible, that others have created it. And here's the thing. There is no difference between me and between you and the stars and everything in the universe. We are all the same. We're all made out of the same stuff with the same potential for greatness and growth. So it does us a huge disservice when we compare other success instead of using it as momentum. Okay, friend. So let's look at how to apply the Trailblazer method in your own life. Step 1 is to find your trailblazers. Look for people who have already achieved the goal that you're working towards. For example, if your goal is to build a 6-figure business, find someone who's done that, someone who started from scratch and made it happen. If your dream is to run a marathon, find someone who started as a complete beginner and crossed the finish line. There are so many examples out there, no matter what you want to do. I mean, think about someone like Oprah. She came from poverty, she faced so many challenges, and yet she went on to create a life beyond what anyone thought was possible. So she didn't just break her own threshold of impossibility, she shattered it for so many other people. She showed the world that massive success is possible even when you don't start with privilege, even when you start in poverty, even when you have the deck stacked against you. So let me give you a very basic example of trailblazers that I used in my own life. A couple of years ago, I was practicing doing things that brought me pleasure because I had been working all the time and I had just kind of completely lost my sense of fun. And so I wanted to start roller skating again because that is like my favorite happy spot. Give me some roller skates and I'm very, very happy. But here's the thing. I hadn't roller skated in years and I was really worried that I was too old, I was too overweight, and I might hurt myself if I fall. So my coach at the time, she told me, go out and find 5 other women who look just like me, who are currently embodying what I want to do. And I did. I found the most amazing, badass women who were twice my size, older than me, and roller skating queens. These women were badasses. And by finding them, I used them as trailblazers, right? They gave me the confidence to trust my body, to go after something I really wanted to do. And I can honestly say that if my coach hadn't suggested that to me, chances are I'd still be just sitting around in self-doubt instead of feeling the wind in my hair with my sexy turquoise blue suede skates, which I love. They are so, so cute. Okay, step 2 is to reframe your mindset. So again, instead of seeing people as competition, we want to see them as trailblazers. Their success, again, is proof that your dream is possible. I don't know if you can hear this, but the monkeys just started howling outside my window, and I'm at our home in Belize right now, and they are so loud. Anyway, okay, I digress. So again, I want you to remember that their success is proof that your dream is possible. So tell yourself, if she can do it, I can too. There's a path to get there, and I'm capable of finding it. And even things like, the universe allows for this. It's possible for women like me. I think it's really important to find people that we can look up to, that we see ourselves in. Because trailblazers are all about bridging the gap, not only in our beliefs, but our nervous system, from where we currently are to where we want to be. And it's really important that we bridge that gap in our nervous system so that we feel energetically safe as we move towards our goals. Because again, that self-sabotage kicks in. It's often happening because of our subconscious mind. It's happening because our nervous system isn't in alignment. And very often we can just beat ourselves up thinking, I just self-sabotaged again, or I just can't get traction on this. But we don't understand why that's happening. So it's very, very important to understand the beliefs and the nervous system and how they work together. On to step 3 is to take aligned action. So once you have your trailblazers, ask yourself, what's one small aligned action that I can take today? These are small steps that can help you build momentum, help you embody the version of yourself who has already achieved your goal. Because here's the truth. The gap between where you are now and where you want to be can either be filled with more hustle and more grit, more white knuckling things, or it can be filled with ease and flow by just simply creating stronger beliefs about what we feel is possible for ourselves by taking aligned and inspired action. So, all right, friend, today I want to invite you to reflect on this. Who are your trailblazers? What proof do you already have that your goal is possible? And what's one small action today that you can start taking to bridge that gap between where you currently are and where you want to be? Remember, your dreams are meant for you. If you can see it in your mind, you can imagine it, then you can create it. I can't wait to hear what you create. If this episode resonated with you, friend, send me a message. Share it with a friend. I love to connect with you. Until next time, keep manifesting an epic fucking life.